Welcome back to the greatest Warhammer event happening right now. Round 6, Nova Open GT. It's an 8-round event. We just concluded round 5 about an hour ago. Took about an hour break. The top 8 cut has been solidified. The first round pairings are set. I'm about to bring you an absolute banger. Last round, we had Gavin Geiger versus the new Beast of Chaos. This time, bring a different flavor of Beast. The first time on stream at Nova Open here this weekend, Juan Noah Singh, winner of LVO this year. And he's rocking his Beast of Chaos with a different flavor of Beast than we saw in the last round. Noah opting to go with Be'lakor in his Beast list. Both of these players finished out their first 5 games at 5-0. Who's this other player? The one, the only, Jacob Brandon, the Cruel Boys god right now. 5-0 with Cruel Boys in the GT. Made the top 8 cut. And here he is, facing Noah for the first time in a tournament. There have been some Team USA practice events that these two have played games in. They've played on Tabletop Simulator against each other. A lot of Worlds reps for Noah. Jacob, amazing player. This is showcasing why he's such a great practice partner for our Team America players. And here he is, 5-0 with Cruel Boys in the top 8. Their mission is going to be Nexus Collapse here. So at the start of the second battle round, the player with fewer points can remove up to 2 objectives from the table. So traditionally, sometimes we see players elect to go down in points turn 1 to dictate what objectives are going to be removed from play, while sometimes players might just ignore that and just go for just scoring their 5 points, saying, I don't care where the battle is going to shift. We saw this battle plan in play during the Invitational, in which case it was Caleb Walters playing Mass Mallow on Thursday. That was round 2 of the Invitational. That game was on this stream, and Caleb's strategy in that game was to just score 5 points a turn, no matter what. So, have some folks here dropping off some beverages for me, keeping me hydrated. Always stay hydrated, my friends. But we're in for an absolute treat here. And I can't wait. So, let's go over the breakdown. What do we got? What the heck's going on at Nova Open right now? So our top 8 cut. So these are players in it to go all the way and win it. The player who finished first, the highest points out of everybody in the field, was none other than the dump truck himself, Leo Rautanen, with Legion of Night, with Nagash. Leo was featured on stream yesterday during, I think it was round 3 or round 2. Everything's a blur already to me. But Leo has secured his place in the top 8 after defeating Chris Schelling last round. And now he is finding himself playing against Anthony Trentinelli. Perhaps a narrative battle happening at that table. Leo Rautanen running Nagash against those rogue ghouls of Anthony Trentinelli, the madman who brought Flesh Eater Courts to 160 player 8-round GT. Ended up going 4-1, but making the top 8 cut and saying, I might be the worst Flesh Eater Court player here, but I'm also the best. Anthony, absolutely legend. Another game we have going on is that Caleb Walters running Zinch 5-0, paired against Anthony Lawrence out of Boston. Anthony Lawrence did beat Caleb in that Invitational. And now we have a rematch. Anthony Lawrence, though, did drop 1 game, so he's 4-1. Squeaked into that top 8 cutoff, there's only 2 4-1 players that made it in top 8. Both named Anthony. I'm sensing a pattern here. Both of them out of the Northeast. Coincidence? I don't think so.
Nerf Anthony's?
So Anthony Lawrence playing against Caleb in a rematch, which Anthony had already won the first one, but he's got a different list in this GT. Both spicy lists. We'll see who comes out on top, but perhaps slightly favoring Anthony in that. Our other round pairing, 2 5-0 OBR players. Ugh, OBR, the only 2 OBR to make it in the top 8. Gavin Gregor, just on stream in the last game. He's running Null Myriad. Dean Bills is his opponent. Dean, primarily out of the Northeast. You don't see his name pop up that often, but when you do, he's always at the top table. Very, very strong opponent. He's elected to go this route with Petrifex Elite for that -1 to be wounded in combat. So we'll see if he has an edge there against Gavin's Null Myriad. Because Dean, I believe, a slightly different list. So that Petrifex Elite list, for going the Archon to black, and instead taking Morghast Archai and Morghast Harbingers in that list, has also got some Necropolis Stalkers. So Dean, you're going to be very much favored in that melee combat, but Gavin with the Archon to black has a few more tools to his disposal. And without the Null Myriad on the other side, Archon to black's going to be going crazy. He's going to have some free reign over that table. But coming to you on the best stream of the weekend, we've got Noah and Jacob, both 5-0. Jacob Brandon's Cruel Boys. Let's get to that list first, because that's what everybody's here for. The Cruel Boys. He's got the double bird. He's running Grin and Blade, so you can't see him outside of 12 inches. Noah, Beast of Chaos, not a whole lot of shooting, so not a whole lot of effect there. But his list has Swamp Boss Scumdrek. Swamp Boss Scumdrek being that Sludge-Raker beast who has a big bubble of 12 inches. If you're within 12 inches and you roll a 6 to hit, you get to add 1 to the number of mortal wounds that are inflicted with that attack. He's also got a Kiloboss on Corpse at Revolta as his general. It's only 200 points. 200! That's it! He's got the command trait Super Sneaky, so he'll be able to pick up one of his units after deployment, put it back down on the table 9 inches from Noah. I believe he's used that a few times to sneakily get some Bolt Boys a little bit closer, but still remain 3 of his Swamp Kala Shaman, load them up with the mortal wounds on 5s, and then move forward and start blasting. He's also got Gobsprak. Gobsprak is amazing in Cruel Boys. I absolutely love him. He's 40 points more expensive than Kiloboss and Corpse Rips of Ultra. But he's a spellcaster, he's a wizard, and he knows all of the lore. All of the lore from the lore of the swamps. Some really good tools in there, like being able to Sneaky Miasma and get a Hero Phase move. He can Nasty Hex and remove ward saves. No ward saves on Noah's list. Beast of Chaos, not known for ward saves. But he's also got 3 Swamp Kala Shamans. 1 with Merciless Blizzard, 1 with the Choking Mist for -1 attacks, and 1 with the Sneaky Miasma, because he's got 3 monsters in here. He also has the Weird and Mount trait on his Big Bird. And the Morph's Eye Pebble, which is 5-up ward against shooting. Not going to be a whole lot effective in this, but Noah does have some shooting from Ungor Raiders that he can pop out from the table edges. For his battle line, just 2 units of Gut Rippas. Gut Rippas do make Hobgrot Slita's battle line, so to round it out for the 3rd battle line, a Hobgrot Slita. He's also got 2 units of 6 Manskewer Bolt Boys and a Beast Skewer Killbow. So 3 units that are going to be shooting at range, pumping mortal wounds from a distance. All of that bundled up into an Anturian Acolytes for some extra primal dice and 2 battle regiments. Noah did talk to me beforehand. He is super, super concerned about his Be'lakor being shot off by Jacob, top of 1, which would be massive. So he's really expecting Jacob to go hard and try to kill that Be'lakor before Dark Masters anything. So we'll see if that happens or not. He's got a lot of tricks to extend his range and to get to Be'lakor. We'll see if that can happen. What is Noah running? He's running Dark Walkers with his Desecrating Brayherd, so he's going to be looking to have the Brayherd units on at least 2 objectives in the battle. That Grand Strat could actually be denied on this mission because there's the possibility that all 6 objectives get removed from play by the end of the game. But he's got that centerpiece model of Be'lakor, the Dark Master, allied in. He's got the Doom Bull with Bestial Cunning. We see this often. It makes his Bulgor's battle line, so we can double reinforce them to 9, and then allows, with Bestial Cunning, the ability to put them anywhere on the table 7 inches away from his opponent. He also has the Great Bray Shaman with Merciless Blizzard and the Bray Blast Trumpet. We've seen this in the other 2 lists we featured on stream. It's a 2-up to summon another Ungor unit to the table. His battle line is 10 Ungors, the 9 Bulgor unit, this time with Great Axes. So we're in our 3rd day streaming, and we've had 3 different Beast of Chaos lists on stream here, between Owen Jackson, the Nuge, and now Noah. And all 3 of them have chosen to arm their Bulgors differently. I know Noah Jackson here, or Noah Jawan Singh here, playing with the Great Axes, prior opponent Nuge running the paired, and then the Owen Jackson electing to use the shields. Noah's also taken 20 Ungor Raiders. He reinforced the Ungor Raider unit. He's also got a 10 and a 10-man unit, so a total of 40 Ungor Raiders, as well as a Chaos Gargant. Chaos Gargants are amazing. When they get into combat, they reduce the save of everything around them by 1. They're monsters, so they can roar on top of that. Noah's looking to potentially remove people's saves with the amount of rend and negation of their saves. Noah's also concerned because Noah has 9 drops, and his opponent is going to be in what looks like a 5-drop range, so you can already see Noah putting Be'lakor all the way in the corner. He is so concerned that his Be'lakor is just going to get shot off the table turn 1. But I do have some sneaking suspicions that Jacob might want to give away the turn, because Beast of Chaos are going to put so much stuff off the table that there's not much that a shooting heavy army like the Scroll Boys list is going to be able to accomplish turn 1. Looks like Jacob is very well screened. It looks like he's using a Snoop of Snaky to move one of his big ol' birds out in the open. Perhaps Cruel Boys looking to take a top of 1 maybe? Or perhaps a bait to potentially lure those Bulgors out for a nice juicy target. Since Cruel Boys have such cheap units, it would definitely be worth a trade to lose either Gobspack or the Corpse of Revolta in order to bait out those Bulgor and remove them from the table. So if you're just joining us now, welcome. You found the greatest live stream of Age of Sigmar currently on the internet right now. We're in round 6, our last game of today. There is the handshake. We have Noah's Beast of Chaos versus Jacob Brandon's Cruel Boys, both of which 5-0, and we are currently in our top 8 cut. But day's not over for most of our players. Many of them have chosen to play on. The remaining players have been put in their own 8-player pods and are playing out 8 full games. More Warhammer, more often. So there were quite a lot of drops, but we currently have 44 games going on of Age of Sigmar, so 88 players choosing to play out round 6. Everybody has been placed into their own 8-player pod, and each of those pods will have their own pod winners too. So even those folks that might have gone 0-5 to start out their GT experience, they've been placed in a pod with similar players who have faced similar results, and they could find themselves being able to pick up 3 wins and turn around and win their pod. So trying out quite a new format, giving everybody a chance to have just a normal 5-round GT experience. And if they feel like that's not enough Warhammer, which, let's be honest, that is not enough Warhammer for any of us, they are now playing out to have the full 8-round experience. So absolutely love it. Or the infamous never before 08. That's true. I don't know of any GT that anyone has had the opportunity to go 0-8 before, but we might see the world's first 0-8. I can't wait. We might have to give that person an interview. But getting into the game now, I'm going to get a quick update as to who's going top of one here. Jacob out deploys Noah, so it's up to Jacob as to whether he wants to take the top of turn or give it to Noah. Personally, in a position like this, I would absolutely love to give away the top of one. However, Noah is very, very concerned that Jacob might be looking to pick up Be'lakor top of one. Noah's list is very heavily invested in a 9 Bulgor unit and Be'lakor, and the rest of his list is a lot of chaff, a lot of Ungor Raiders. He does have 1 Chaos Gargant, but there's not a lot of meat. So, Jacob Brandon has elected to give top of one to Noah. So they're off to the races. Noah's taking a look, gauging out what can he accomplish. He's using his little sneaky tricks. He's got Beast of Chaos with heroic actions that their heroes can perform while off the board edge. So he's looking to pull what looks like a unit of Bolt Boys backwards towards that table edge. That's going to prevent them from getting further up the table. Cancel that. That looks like a unit of Gut Rippers. It's pulling Gut Rippers closer to the edge. Jacob did use the Super Sneaky to redeploy that one big old bird up there and I'm out in the middle of no man's land. I'm going to get a quick peek to see whether that's Gobsprak or the Corpse Ripper Vulture. I'll be right back when we find out where the heck is Gobsprak. Looks like Gobsprak has been sent out all on his own out there, keeping his general and that Corpse Ripper Vulture all the way in the middle of this castle. You can see in between the birds, you've got the Swamp Boss Scumdrak there. There's a unit of Bolt Boys up there too. The Beast Skewer Killabo is on that bottom center objective. Do the terrain piece. Noah has put his big old Herdstone all the way in the top left corner with 3 monsters on the table. He's got to be protective of that. Gobsprak San Diego in the middle of no man's land, thinking, what am I doing out here? Might look odd to some of us, but this is Jacob Brandon, the only 5-0 Cruel Boys player here. He knows what he's doing. Noah's off to the races into the start of his movement phase. Unger Raiders that are in reserve have the ability, once per battle at the start of his movement phase, he can shoot. And since it's happening at the start of the movement phase, you can't use all out defense in the shooting phase. It's limited in the movement phase. It's limited to the shooting phase and the combat phase. So even though it's all rend 0, without all out defense, it can pack a punch. Cruel Boy's not known for having high armor saves either. So we'll just see how much damage he's able to do. He had a unit of 20, a unit of 10, and another unit of 10. So potentially 40 Ungor Raiders shooting. So Ungor Raiders shooting on 4s and 4s. Since this happens in his movement phase, he also cannot all-out attack this, since that's also limited to the shooting and combat phases. So if you just joined us live, we do have Noah's Beast of Chaos all the way in the top left. See him pulling models out of his super advanced storage system, otherwise known as a cardboard box, versus Jacob Brandon running Kuro Boys. No, we are not streaming just some random game. We are not streaming a bottom table. These players are 5-0 right now at Nova Open. This is our last game of today. We still have 2 more tomorrow. No, a bit concerned. He's only also had about 2 or 3 hours of sleep. Jacob Brandon on top of his game as always. Going to be a very tight game here. Noah was able to shoot off about 5 gut rippers from the right-hand side. And now he's looking to bring on a bunch of Ungor Raiders down here. Looking to just secure up some objectives. Move Be'lakor to just toe the edge of that left objective. Be'lakor being a monster, being 5 bodies on objective, recognizing that his opponent has 5 monsters. Either Be'lakor needs to die, or he's going to have to commit more than just one of those big old birds to have objective to take it. Cruel Boy is currently sitting on 2 objectives. Noah putting himself on 2. We'll see if he elects to go for a 3rd objective to score 5 points, or if he's going to be content to just hold 2 and force a 4-point turn 1 for himself and put Jacob in a position where he can either tie him up on 4 or go ahead at 5 points and give Noah the ability to remove 2 of these from the table.
So you don't have a natural on mine right now, right? On the extensions or some way. So I'm going to do the Master's Map. Just making sure that, yeah. Master's Map. And heroic action, I'll just do it at command point.
So I'll try to get some updates on points as I get them. Both players pretty exhausted. Not sure what scoring system they're going to use. We have some scoring sheets provided to them, but they might be just kind of using their own systems or using their heads. We'll get some updates for you. They are using the chess clock. Noah removing a super advanced storage system off the table so that way they can see the chess clock. Big heads up play by him. Looks like they're now filling out the score sheet. As you can see here, we do have a score sheet which has been invaded by another bird. Big old rubber chicken on that score sheet. Noah has chosen Surround and has taken 4 points for his turn 1, picking up his battle tactic and both of the left-hand objectives. So big decision here coming for Jacob Brandon. He's gonna definitely will go for a battle tactic, and he will score at minimum 4 points then. But he's gonna have the choice because if he moves on to either of the top objectives there, it'll put him up to 5 points, giving Noah the ability to remove the 2 objectives that Jacob's currently sitting on. So we might see him intentionally score 4 points for himself just to prevent Noah from removing both of his home objectives. So 2 very tricksy armies on a very tricksy battle plan. Quite possibly might be one of the most entertaining games of the day. It's going to be a lot of sneaking around, a lot of dancing around here, trying to avoid each other, score points, maybe not score points, to be able to dictate where these objectives get burnt. So we're definitely going to see Jacob still stay pretty reserved. He's going to have this little castle formation that he's in, and he's not going to look to crack it just yet because the only things committed are Ungor Raiders and Bellicor to the table. And Noah's got plenty off the table, including a unit of 9 Bulgor that can show up at any time 7 inches away. When they do charge in, they do on average about 9 mortal wounds. So we could pick up more than half a unit of Bolt Boys with that. I might get an update on that battle tactic. He does look like he wrote down Surround, but we'll get an update for them. They know what they're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. That's why I'm just talking here. But I'll get an update from them. Take a look at, see exactly what battle tactic. And we'll be back in just a second.
So she put this in shield, same guy. Okay, so that's all the magic. So how close to this? 9 inches? You. This guy.
I'm back with the update. Noah did pick Intimidate. Just having Bellicor and a unit of Ungor Raiders on the table. Noah on about 2 hours of sleep. In full Florida Man style, scribbled what looked like swooned on the sheet. We've updated it. Did score 4 points. Jacob Brandon quickly responding with the new Cruel Boys battle tactic that dropped in that last battle scroll update, which all he has to do is have all of his Cruel Boy units within 3 inches of a train piece at the end of the turn. So he'll easily be able to score that. And I'm fully expecting that he only scores 4 points this turn. He wants to keep this tight on the score, so that way Noah doesn't burn all of his objectives.
So you can't tell outside of 9, but it has to be at an objective.
We'd all swoon for Noah, Spencer. We would all. Who wouldn't? Noah is a married man, though. So Noah is one of the most lovable people in our hobby. Absolute gentleman. But absolute monster on the table.
Jacob won cryo and gave it, but Noah won the roll to. And how fast are your guys as far as?
So Jacob finishing his turn quick. Might have some plans later that he's trying to get to, but we had a 4-point turn for Cruel Boys, and then won the priority, and Noah able to delete one of the objectives. There's a roll-off when they're tied to see who gets to remove up to one of these objectives. Noah won the roll-off, removed the objective that the birds are touching right now. So that objective currently considered to be off the table. Too many models on it currently to just physically remove it, but that one should be considered to be gone from the table.
This teabag go.
Luckily, we have Team America captain himself, Captain America, Sean Clark nearby, keeping a close eye on this game, helping feed me some updates. For anybody just joining, we have Noah Singh, veteran Team America player, winner of LVO, 5-0 with Beast of Chaos currently, playing against Jacob Brandon, no stranger to the top tables, with a 5-0 Cruel Boys list. Whew, 5-0 Cruel Boys right now. I cannot choose which one of these two is favored. This one's going to be close. The other thing is, this mission can also wildly swing in either of them's favor. Especially if they're going to keep it this close. We just saw why, because Noah intentionally scored 4 points turn 1. Jacob responded by only scoring 4 points on his turn, so that way Noah couldn't burn 2 objectives. But then if they're tied going to the next battle round, they roll off and the winner gets to remove 1. Noah won that roll off and was able to remove 1. And it's things like that that can swing the game slightly in one person's favor. And we're still so early on that this is still anybody's game. I don't think either of them are completely favored here. I think it's just way too close to call. You know, I know a lot of people would go, Cruel Boys, come on, Beast of Chaos are favored, but personally, I love Cruel Boys. I think they're amazing right now, especially they just got a new battle tactic. Very easy to score one. So it's going to be a close one. Too close to call. And both players are going to be looking to do the stance where neither scores that full 5 points. They both want to keep their own scores low so they can dictate the flow of this game. The first 5 rounds of this event were done in kind of Swiss pairings, and they had point differentials, so every point mattered for every win. But now we're in the top 8 cut, and both of these players are here to win it. Both of them really want to get that 8-0. So we're going to see a different kind of play style for these next 3 games, where instead of trying to run up a score, maximize their win ratio, they're just going to be looking at maximizing their chance to win. So reducing any unnecessary risk, playing very conservative, just not give their opponents any opportunity to make a big play. It is also not a single elimination, so even if one of these players loses, there's still a chance they could finish second. But still, round 6 of this GT. Still 2 more rounds tomorrow. This is going to be the last one of today. Yep, top 8 is its own pod. Everybody's potted up. Everybody's going to be playing out 8 rounds. More Warhammer, more often. It's a brand new format they're trying out here at Nova Open. We'll see how everybody likes it. Seems like a lot of love for it so far. There's still a good 100 players here. Looked like we had about 60 players drop since we started. We did start with about 160 something, and we're down to about 100 right now. So quite a lot of folks happy just to play 5 games. Some of them couldn't commit to an entire 3-day event, but still were more than happy to participate in just a 5-round GT. But we're still going. Here we are, round 6, 2 5-0 players, Beast of Chaos, Cruel Boys. Thank you for the comments. It's been amazing to stream this. Thankful for the opportunity to commentate and watch high-level play all weekend here. Pretty much all week. This is day 3. We had an invitational on Thursday. So essentially what happened after round 5 was there's an hour break. And then from there, anybody that just wanted to drop after 5 rounds, they were able to drop. No shame on anybody. If you already played a 5-round GT, might be enough Warhammer for you. And those players have all dropped. Everyone else was then seeded into 8-player pods, depending on their finishes in the GT. Instead of just the traditional top 8 cut that we normally see, where at this point we would break into a top 8 cut, into a single elim. Instead of that, everybody's having the opportunity to play out 8 rounds. More Warhammer more often. So we do have our traditional top 8 cut there, but they're going to be playing out all 3 rounds. And then to my left, we have about 100 players still playing right now. And they're all broken out into their own pods. They'll be playing out 8 games for everybody. So even those folks at the bottom of the pack, they're all put together into their own pod. And they'll be able to play out 3 rounds. There's going to be awards for best overall. There's going to be best in Grand Alliance. All of those are going to go across all of the pods. And then each pod itself will have their own champion. So Noah's been using his heroic action to pull that 1 unit Gut Rippers at the bottom right, 2d6 on both of his turns. He's just trying to keep pulling them away and then potentially open a window into those Bolt Boys and the Beast Skewer Killbow there on that bottom middle objective. And we're going to see where he starts bringing on everything else. Beast of Chaos will now have to start bringing on all their toys. Jacob, one priority, gave it to Noah. The worst thing that could happen against Beast of Chaos is that Beast of Chaos goes bottom of 2 and then doubles into 3, brings all of their toys out on the board exactly where they want, wins priority, hits you hard again. So Jacob with heads up play of giving Noah the turn. So Noah's going to have to bring out all of his toys, and then Jacob will have his turn to respond, and potentially double turn Noah back. So Noah getting into his movement phase, he's going to have to move the models that he already has on the table, and then after he's finished moving everything, he will be bringing on essentially the rest of his army. Still so much off the table for Beast of Chaos. We saw it in our Owen Jackson game we had on stream yesterday, where Owen essentially put down a Be'lakor on the table and said everything else to reserve and just walked away to the table. He went, grabbed a drink, chatted with some folks, pulled up his socks even more. Just things that Owen does. So Be'lakor moving behind that building in the center there. There are two big buildings. They're like the old Warhammer Fantasy terrain. And they are pretty tall. I think Noah's trying to use them to block some line of sight to avoid those Bolt Boys and potentially the Beast Skewer Killbow. I don't think he's going to be able to line of sight that. There are two big clear pieces of terrain on the top right and the bottom right, which do have kind of removable ruin piece on them. They're just supposed to be there for cover. And then there's Wildwoods at the top left, the bottom right. And there's also two towers on the table, which are supposed to be garrisonable. It looks like Noah potentially bringing on the Bulgors up at the top of the screen. I think this is going to be a pretty long movement phase here. He's got a lot of measuring to do. A lot of planning where he's going to bring on all of these units. He's got 9 Bulgors, a Doom Bull, Bray Shaman, Chaos Gargant, and I think about 30 more Ungor. And on 2 up, he's going to bring on another 10 Ungor. So quite a lot of models to bring on the board here. So there's not going to be a whole lot of action for the next couple minutes as all of that gets measured out, pulled out of a cardboard box that Noah calls a storage solution. So, just join us. Noah, Beast of Chaos, Jacob Brandon, Cruel Boys, both 5-0. This is round 6 of your top 8 players. And should be a pretty wild game. Not very often we get to see Cruel Boys on a top table. I have a lot of local players near me that don't think it can be done. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? We've got video evidence of it. Cruel Boys at a top table. They say pictures or didn't happen. We got a video. So, our top 8 players. So, this format, not quite a single elimination. Everybody's in 8-player pods. They'll be playing out 3 rounds. But essentially, we're at the stage of the event where we've had our top 8 cutoff. The top 8 of this event currently, well, in their top 8 pod, the person with the most points after 5 rounds of Warhammer here at Nova Open was Leo Rautanen. An absolute amazing player. 5-0 with Legion of Night, the only undefeated Soulblight player after round 3. Went on to go 5-0 with Legion of Night. with the Supreme Lord of the Dead himself, Nagash. Leo was on stream yesterday versus Sons of Bahamut. And he's done it. 5-0. Nagash. He's facing off against Anthony Trentinelli, Hollowmorn Flesh Eater Quartz. That's right, the very first matchup in the books here of your top 8 players. I can't even make it up. Nagash versus Flesh Eater Quartz. Another match that's going on right now. Caleb Walters, winner of Nova Open last year, facing off against Anthony Lawrence out of Boston. Anthony hasn't been able to attend many GTs. He's been busy with his family the past year or two. But the few GTs he's been showing up at, he's been winning. He won Everwinter GT last winter. He won the Ironwell GT this past summer. And he's here with his Slanesh army. And Caleb is running Tzeentch into Slanesh on another table. Our other top 8 pairing is Dean Bills versus Gavin Geiger. Gavin just played on this in our last round. They have an OBR mirror match. So 2 OBR players in the top 8, both of them having to play each other, both of them at 5-0. But currently, in front of your eyes, on screen, Noah and Jacob running Beast of Chaos versus Cruel Boys, 2 5-0 superstars. Played each other quite a few times before, Tabletop Simulator, at person, and Team America practices, but never have they played at a tournament. So quite a lot of bragging rights on the line for them. Also narrowly missing out, finishing a 9th after 5 rounds, was Scooter Walters, who played in the final of Nova last year. Scooter was holding tight at first place for a couple rounds, but unfortunately took a loss to Cruel Boys in the last round. Jacob Brandon's path to 5-0 with Cruel Boys went through Scooter in round 5. And he's playing the captain of Team Canada, Oliver Dempsey. Oliver showed up to round 1 thinking, traditionally, as a top-end player, your round 1 of your GTs might be your softest pairing. Instead, he got Tom Guan with 140 zombies. And team captain of Canada took a loss to zombies round 1, but won the next 4 straight, found himself in that second pod. So currently, looks like 44 games going on, so about 88 players still playing on. Everybody has the opportunity to play 8 full rounds of Age of Sigmar this weekend. So Noah still measuring out everything. Knew this was going to be a very long movement phase, just because he knows Cruel Boys is going next. And he also knows, since Cruel Boys is going next, Cruel Boys does have the opportunity to double turn him back. So anything he puts on the board could potentially be in danger. So Noah might be a little shy to pull the trigger for sure right now, but he sees the opportunity to potentially pick up a Gobsprak. That big old bird right there he's lining up to bat is none other than Gobsprak, the Mouth of Mork. And to the left of Gobsprak, there looks to be a unit of 6 Manskewer Bolt Boys. So we'll see what Noah elects to do. I'm curious to see if he chooses to charge into Gobsprak, potentially putting the mortal wounds into those Manskewer Bolt Boys if he finishes close enough. But joining me right now is the legendary Mike Vaginos, one of our judges here. Been a lot of questions about this format.
Okay.
We've been basically seeing the top 8 cut, but it is not single elimination, is it?
No, it is not. So what we're doing here is we have truly like a kind of a Grand Prix format, similar to like how old days of X-Wing or Magic used to do. So we do Potter players. Obviously, we've seen Age of Sigmar GTs with the top 8, kind of like single elim. For the most part, we are still looking for win-loss as the major tiebreaker. So obviously, you can do quick math. You have 8 players. If you have one undefeated, they're likely to be the champion. So even though you're looking at a bracket champion from an award standpoint, remember Nova Open is the entire 8 rounds. So let's say you're in Pod 3, and you lose your first game but win your next 3. Those 3 wins and 1 loss overall will still give you that ranking higher. The pods, the only thing they're doing is basically just kind of creating a floor and ceiling effect for your first 8, your second 8, your third 8. So for instance, you make the pod 1, the lowest possible finish ranking you could get is 8th place here at Nova. So we kind of find that to be the best way to allow players to kind of get played, seeded, paired, and more importantly, a little insurance for their efforts.
Fantastic. And each pod, I heard, might have their own champion?
Yes, and so we are giving, so that's why I say, like, from a Nova Open, we have kind of a Grand Prix format. Some of the awards we're giving out include bracket champions. So let's say you could be in the lowest pod and you had a hell of a day 1 and 2. You get paired in your pods, you're still a trooper and you keep playing, and you just find your stride, you go get those 3 more wins. If you get those 3 wins in your bracket, you are going to be that bracket champion, which will be awarded a prize here at Nova Open. So not only you're still playing for things on day 3, you're not just being dismissed from, like a other standard GT where it's like, oh, you played your 5 rounds, thanks for coming. We're going to go ahead and have you be done on day 3 and only have 8 people play, which is kind of a little, in my opinion, deflating, especially on a big event like this, or even the larger cons out there. So we really hope people enjoyed this format and kind of give it a try, especially with our community growing. It's a great problem to have. James O'Brien and I really kind of sat down in the think tank to really say, well, how do we create a great quality event as the con grows, but also look at it from a logistical planning standpoint, a scoring perspective, a good quality event, and a great time while people can still enjoy other things.
Fantastic. Have you seen any of the other top tables playing right now? Anything interesting?
I have been walking around a little bit. Everyone's still kind of in like the earlier phases here going on. I'll say Scooter's doing what he does best. He's charging in, but everyone's kind of ready for that now at this point. If you don't know Scooter likes charging, you haven't been in this community that long. So there's a lot of great games, great matchups happening. I'll be honest, I'm really, really excited to walk around Pod 2. Obviously, Pod 1's full of great players, but I mean, Pod 2 is a shark tank. If you go down the list there and really look at those players, there's only like a few points of like the difference between being Pod 1 and Pod 2, but there's no one in Pod 2 that hasn't won GTs in the past 90 days. Spencer, if you go into BCP for the Nova Open Age of Sigmar GT, you'll see now that we're in round 6, everyone will be in brackets. So I'm looking at it right now on the screen, you'll see basically bracket 1, then your tables, bracket 2, and so on.
Huge update from the table right now. You've just seen the Chaos Gargant come on the table edge and boxcar a 12-inch charge.
And the Gobsprack.
Rockstar. I love that thing.
Also, on the bottom left, we saw that unit of 20 Ungor come on, and normally the power of the Grin Blades, you can't be seen outside of 12. But what Noah's done over the last 2 turns is use his heroic action to move that screen of 10 Gut Rippers 2d6 away from them, so that way he can get within 12 of those Bolt Boys that are down there. And he put shots in the Bolt Boys, and we saw 2 of them removed.
Oh
already.
my god.
So this Chaos Gargant going in. Probably see these Bolt Boys going too. Bellacore still has Dark Master available.
Yeah, it's good.
And Jacob's going to be potentially on a double, but
That Dark Master is going to throw him for a wrench.
Yeah, that Dark Master, again, we've joked about this before. Like, Bellacore, man, when he shines, he feels so good. And in this army, too, Beastacast is playing really for that nice momentum, really. Some armies are board control armies, some armies are tempo and timing control armies, and this is one of those. I mean, Beast of Chaos already basically have a Nombo turn 1. That's a lot of dice coming out. What is this for?
It looks like an Unleash Hell. He looks like he elected to charge the Gargant.
Oh, he's about to eat all of them.
And he's about to eat an Unleash Hell. That's 6, 7, 8, 11 mortal wounds right there.
Well, and I have to assume that's just the one unit. Jacob Brandon saw as the double tap, right?
So 8 mortal wounds, and then we saw a wound roll.
Before that Chaos Gargant gets shot off the board here, he's my favorite unit in that book, by the way. For 150 points, that guy does so much work.
He's amazing.
He's insane. And he's a great ally, too, for Cross Chaos.
Yeah.
Like,
He's got an aura where he reduces your save by 1.
Love it.
I've even like tried working him in a Nurgle list.
It's not only is that great, but then in an army, well, I mean, him and Bellacore do kind of 2 dual roles here in the army. It was like, not only are you increasing your end as you go, but if you can roar somebody, obviously the strength of theirs, you can smash the rubble, great. But really, the fun part about him too is he even gets better when he's near heroes, which is such a great like thematic way of like keeping him in the Doom Bowl as like kind of like your 1-2 punch, which I love. Ooh, what happened here? What do we got?
I think we just saw the Bulgors fail a charge.
Oh no, that's brutal.
It looked like he rolled not a 4. Re-rolled it.
Not a 7. The answer is not a 7.
Not a 7.
Oh no! Which is funny too, because I know a lot of folks tend to like to put their bestial cunning on that big bull unit. But again, I think you're finding a lot
He does have him on there, the Bulgors.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, and he popped up 7 from Godstrap.
Well, then he would need it a 5 then, right? Because he's +1 from showing up and the banner. So
Couldn't roll higher than 4.
That's brutal. Okay. Oh my god. Ugh, what a nightmare scenario.
Absolutely insane.
Well, especially you feel so good about your Chaos Gargan getting in. You're like, well, obviously my bulls are. Oh shit! Wait a minute. Did anybody have a Triumph available by any chance, or no?
We command pointed to re-roll it, so he already spent the re-roll.
Oh, okay. Got you.
But it stays on here to keep going.
That is huge. That
Yeah, no,
is your LVO champ noticing, failing what he needed 5 on the dice
5.
score.
Rerollable. Failed it. And I'll be honest,
With
I mean,
his
that's not the only time today that has happened to Noah. So,
Look, everything on this table has been wild so far. We've seen people win not 1, but twice. We have seen priorities 1 with a 1.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's brutal. No.
We've seen a Vampire Lord blow himself up with a blizzard. We've seen a Gash miscast.
Amazing. Now, this is funny. Chat's picking up on it, too. And again, I couldn't agree more. Remember, the Doom Bull has that, command ability that he can do in his opponent's turn. So there is a bit of like, you didn't make it here, but you can still maybe influence the game on your opponent's turn. And I'm sure Jacob Brandon's thinking of exactly that, too. So we'll see how he moves around this for sure to keep that in line. But I'll tell you right now, if I'm still a Beast of Chaos player, I'd rather get both. I'm greedy. I want these 9 bulls coming in, destroying something, and then set up for that on my opponent's turn. So these are a little out, and you can even tell the way he came into. He's not quite where he wants to be. Like he's not quite on that objective as hard as good as he wanted to be. So saw that, bud.
Noah just walked by, just nodding his head. We know, he knows. Not good for the Chaos there.
So we got someone asking on the top left of those models painted.
Well, the Bulgor, it's hard to tell, but everything is painted on.
Yeah, it's much more of a shadowy type effect. Again, Noah's Dark Walkers playing Bellacore, they are a bit more shadowy than kind of like your traditional like reddish brown bull Minotaur color for sure. But yes, they're fully painted.
Noah picking up a full 5 points there. Both players were tied 4-4 at the end of 1. Noah top of 2, picking up 5 points. About to go into bottom of 2. Cruel Boys. Jacob Brandon, both players 5-0.
And this is it. Like I said, first round of the top bracket. This is great to see. This is a seeded game. And yet, Tyler's picking up right on it too. Again, if Noah does have that Triumph available, he can use that for the out-of-sequence charge, which is fun. But again, I don't know what the points are, Emma. Have you seen?
Yeah, Noah's exactly 2,000 points.
Right, so he does not have that Triumph available. That's what I thought too last time we were tinkering with lists. So I thought he was pretty lean and mean on this. I mean, how many lists can you say? I've got 40 guys who can shoot off the board once per game. I've got 9 bulls to charge anywhere I want. I've got Bellacore turn shit off. Like, I also have an army that just teleports around the board. Oh wait, I'm also under points. Well, that's not real. So.
So about to go into Cool Boys. We'll get an update once we know when Dark Master has been used and what you.
Yeah, that's a big one too.
What your prediction here, Mike? There is that threat of that 6 Bolt Boys right there. Also, the Sludgeraker, Scumdrag.
Jacob Brandon, again, I love every time I read one of his lists he submits because, like, there are no obvious choices. He has a great way of diversifying his threats. He has a great way of also being able to, like, find the combo pieces that can make any of them cranked up to an 11. So, yeah, I'll be honest, Noah's going to have to really evaluate just the long-term value of that Bellacore because that will impact not only how he has to play around things, but what Jacob is allowed to do versus not allowed to do. I mean, obviously, those all seem like duh. But in this game, on this caliber and this high level, I mean, a small choice like that can dictate the pace, regardless of your success rate or not.
And now that we're past that dreaded Beast of Chaos turn 2, Jacob gets to breathe a little sigh of relief because he knows where all of these resources are committed.
Yep.
There's nothing left in reserve. He sees where all of these tools are, and now he's able to respond to them. There's no more sneaky pulling stuff off
Yep.
from table edges, no more shooting off table edges.
Now, I'll ask this question because I missed this a little bit because we're in turn 2 now, right? I do not know which objectives have been blown up, or if any. Has that happened yet?
So, a recap for everybody also just joining this game. Noah had to take the top of 1. He elected to only score 4 points that turn. He only started a Bellicor on the table, brought on some Ungor Raiders, took control of both objectives on the left hand of your screen. Jacob then only scored 4 points because he didn't want Noah to have the ability to burn 2 objectives and remove both the home ones.
Makes sense.
So Jacob stayed on both of that bottom center and the bottom right objective.
So went to that roll-off then.
Scored 4, went to the roll-off. Noah won the roll-off and was able to burn that bottom right objective. So the objective between both those birds on your screen on your right-hand side, the one that says number 2,
Okay.
that objective has been removed.
Okay.
So
that
currently,
is dead right
Crowboys
now.
only control 1 objective, because that objective should be considered to be removed from the game.
Yeah, and again, and this is always my favorite part too, and you know this whenever we play, like, I'm not a fan of, like, these mats are great for streaming, but for missions that have blown, like, removal, they can be a little confusing, so I'm really happy if they got a marker on something just to kind of, like, indicate that for sure, but I can't quite
I
tell.
think there is a purple marker on there.
Oh, I see that on the ring now. Okay, I just wasn't looking for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong. I think that's what it's for. I don't see any other reason.
Yeah,
I just know they
sure.
did inform me that they did burn that one.
Cool. And then, oh yeah, Ramon, I remember you from Vegas teams. Yeah, we definitely got to get a game in sometime, man. Appreciate you.
Anybody joining? Noah, Beast of Chaos, Jacob Brennan, Cruel Boys, both 5-0. Score after 1 was 4-4. Noah was forced to take the top of 2, scored the full 5, was able to win the roll-off to burn one of Jacob's objectives. So number 2 objective removed from play. We are into the start of Cruel Boys turn 2 after a 9-man Bulgor unit failed a rerollable charge.
Yeah, that's brutal. Yeah, and then
I think we just had a miscast too.
Oh no. Well, I mean, if Noah's got to be happy about that again. He's got a little bad luck, and at least you know the dice gods being even, giving Jacob a little bad luck here too. And then, yeah, Ramon, to your point, yeah, I mean, obviously I know both players in real time in any given game. They got a great heads-up sensibility about them. They'll keep track. I really like it from, like, because we active judge here at Nova, so we really like kind of making sure everyone maintains a good, clean board state. Especially, it makes it also easier for you guys streaming and checking in too. So, and then, oh my God, is that the Hunter? Like the man who like eats paint and covers himself in olive oil all the time? My God, amazing. Surprised he didn't have like wrestling music intro like to announce his arrival.
Glad to see our chat active.
Oh yeah.
If anybody has any questions, feel free. I will try to get you answers. Now that we are into Jacob's turn, I will go inquire about the Dark Master. I was waiting for Jacob to finish all of his starter hero sequence stuff, because the way Dark Master is, the active player does all of their starter hero phase, so heroic actions, choosing battle tactics. Then the other player gets to choose which target he wants to Dark Master if he wants to.
Which is so powerful. Again, you get to hear your opponent's battle tactics. Like, oh, try again. Hunter super slams into the chat. Love that. So I'd say, when did you become a Gargant player? Sounds like a monster's action. Let's see. Any news from the Gash Feck matchup? I was walking around there. It is, I mean, I'll tell you, that is, I wish, a game that we could really have on stream, because that is probably one of the most volatile matchups in the top bracket, in my opinion. Me and Sean Clark were even joking. We love kind of doing like little side bets and kind of sports betting. I would not want to be the house who's got to set the money line on that, because there's a lot of things that could go wrong real quick. I will definitely be walking around a bit more now after I get, kind of done with you guys in the chat. Emma's checking in and table bossing for us right now. When she gets back, I can walk around and kind of keep you guys fed with some insights in the field. And Oh yeah, Team Leo's been great. I mean, like it's wild that he's obviously he's a great player. Played for Finland for Worlds this past year. Excellent guy. He's also a DC local right now due to his work, so this is right in his backyard. And coming in with Nagash is definitely a big flex, which is awesome. So we got Emma coming back here after table bossing. Do we have a Bellacore activation or no?
Oh, was I supposed to find that out?
I was hoping you were going to do your job.
The answer
yeah.
is kind of what I expected. The Bolt Boys on that right-hand side.
Yeah. Because like if everything else you have like to your disposal as a Beast of Chaos player, shooting is just the one thing that you don't want to. I mean, we saw the damage that came in on that Chaos Guardian, which is usually just like an easy coming in and doing his job, and it's the one thing you just try to mitigate because you can countercharge and things, you can do other mosey. I really thought the Scumdrake guy would have been a great choice as a B option, but the Bolt Boys are just so powerful.
Yeah, the weird thing is the Scumdrake, he doesn't have the fast end mount trait. He's taking the weird end one.
Oh.
So
Is that the one against spells that he does it, or am I thinking about something else?
actually not sure. I know Spellion is the -1 to hit if you didn't charge.
Yep.
Fast Stone is the once per battle hero phase.
Right. That's like the pretty typical one most people take.
But weird and so weird, I've never even seen it.
Yeah. Ah, there you go. Tyler's got me. It's a 4-up spell, mortal wound. Okay. Good to know. So I guess maybe that must have been his little anticipation for all the things of Sotex and Blizzards and things like that. And Blizzard, I mean, talk about a spell that on paper sounds like, why would I ever deal with this? And then you realize how consistent it can be with Primal Dice and all these bonuses to cast. Like, Blizzard is honestly a meta-defining spell right now. It's really powerful.
In Leo's last game against Chris Schelling, didn't even need a Primal Die. What he did was he just heroic action to teleport the Vampire Lord on under the Arcane terrain, and just rolled a 9 up.
Brutal.
With the Morbig's Claw for the other +2.
Absolutely brutal. I mean, and then obviously I think we've seen this twice now from Nova Noah over the weekend here at Nova.
So,
go ahead.
So what we see is there's 5 Gut Rippers left, all the way on the left-hand side. He's moving up because there is that Bray Shaman kind of weirdly out in the open. Not sure why he brought in a Bray Shaman all the way out there in that spot. I think he really anticipated the Bulgars being able to get in that charge.
For sure.
So now that Bray Shaman might get picked up by 5 Gut Rippers. Swamp Boss Scumdrake moving up, seeing if he makes a long charge. He will have that aura, so if Gobspec does get in there, he will be giving the +1 to the wounds on the 6s to hit for the mortal wounds. We'll see, he might have envenomed Gobspec. I think in this, I would probably prefer to put that Venom on Gobspec, knowing I'm going to get Gobspec in, and there's a chance that Bolt Boys aren't able to shoot. And then since the Venom last turn over turn, if Noah goes next and he's still in combat, he'll still have the effect of the Venom weapons. Yeah,
I like that. And that's definitely the line I like. We knew it wasn't going to the Bolt Boys that were Bellacord, so choosing that option too is always kind of a big deal. I love the mobility and also the playability of Gobspec right now. He just does so many things well for this Cool Boys army. He keeps that toolbox open, which really in the hands of a great player is all you're really looking for, is like just keeping outs open for as long as possible. And man, his Gobspec can be the X factor. He can be this toolbox piece. I'm so happy he's seeing a lot of play right now.
Good day, mate. Welcome to the stream, AoS Coach.
Oh shit, it's Coach.
This is actually round 6. Our traditional kind of top 8 has already been decided. And you're watching the first game of those top 8 players. Undefeated, we have Noah, 5-0 with Beast of Chaos, and drumroll, we have 5-0 with Cruel Boys, Jacob Brandon. Absolutely insane. Both these players have played a few times before in like Team America practice. Noah, veteran player of Team America. Jacob Brandon, such an amazing player that even though he hasn't played at Worlds yet, we love having him show up at those practice events because we know we're getting some really quality practice games. And you can see it on your screen why he is such a valued resource.
Him and Caleb Walters is another one too, right? Caleb's never had the opportunity yet to play for Team America Worlds. Again, life happens. We've all been there. But again, you talk to Caleb, you talk to Jacob Brandon. Anthony Lawrence has been to Worlds, but he's also another one I put in this category where it's like sometimes life happens. You can't travel as much as some of the other players. So you're looking at like Jacob Brandon is probably one of my famous, unfamous internet Warhammer players because he's not at every event, but the events he goes to, and if you don't know who this guy is, he's gonna give you a lesson.
He's gonna surprise you. Yeah. I guess the secret's out now that he's got a 5-0 with Cruel Boys and he's on stream.
It's a sauce.
Might get fired for letting that secret out that Jacob Brandon very quality Warhammer player.
Very good. Very good.
But in our other traditional top 8 players, we have the person who finished first after 5 rounds, the dump truck, Leo Rautanen.
Dude, so it may have been a tie for him and Leo and Dean. It was funny. Leo did it in style with Nagash Fireworks. He's like, oh, cool, Chris Schelling, I know you're kind of a pretty decent Gargan player, obviously one of the better ones. Leo's like, I'm just going to hand you 90 mortal wounds. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. So Leo against Chris Schelling's Gargants, when both players were 4-0 vying for that spot in that top 8, Leo selected, I'm going to take top of 1, teleported his Vampire Lord within 12 of King Broad, threw out the spell portal, and unloaded a Merciless Blizzard and an unmodified 9-up on a Vile Transference, and killed King Broad with 2 of those spell casts, top of 1.
Absolutely brutal.
Chris Schelling absolutely went, ugh.
Yeah, and how could you not, right? Because no one is seeing that coming. Like, you should expect a good handful of mortal wounds, but, like, not only did he spike, but he did it across 2 turns. And I think ultimately, I don't think that really impacts the outcome of the game, but the overall differential for sure, and any possible momentum shift. Like, nothing feels worse than getting, like, that game accelerated beyond all belief.
So far what we see is there's a unit of 4 Bolt Boys left at the bottom in that middle objective, and they're shooting into that 20 Ungor Raider unit that already got hit with a suffocating Gravetide.
Ooh, okay.
There's also a Manskewer Bolt.
Not a Manskewer, they're Manskewer Bolt Boys, but the Beast Skewer killed
Oh,
them.
the big bolt.
Big Bolt
The big bow.
over by him. The General, the Kiloboss on Corpse of Revolta, has moved on out to that number 4 objective. The one that's marked number 2 that was removed by Noah, he won a roll-off going into turn 2 to remove that objective. We're playing on Nidus Collapse.
Nexus collapse.
Nexus Collapse.
Close enough. I think the
Something
collapse is the
collapsed.
important part. Something's falling apart.
I'm
Objective
not sure
2 fell apart.
If I saw any rolls for the mortal wounds that come out, maybe that's where he did lose a Bolt Boy. So there was a unit of 6 Bolt Boys up on there.
Okay.
Next to where the Sunjack is,
Sure.
and one of them was killed.
Okay. Maybe
So,
that was what that was
It
from.
might have been
By the
Before the next turn roll, I'll go and ask the players too to how did that happen last turn, and or kind of give them a gentle reminder that that is a part of the rule that we should be making sure it didn't miss, and we could have just missed it. So, and then we got Robbie Bear asking how did Tom of the Wand Deadland did.
I think it was 10th or 11th.
I mean, he's played a lot of war. I mean, so have these 2 players. He did very well. Overall placings, in my opinion, are not really locked right now. He did fall to bracket 2 again. He ended up losing to Gavin Grigger.
2 points,
2
I think it was.
points. What a tight game.
I saw the end of that game,
Yeah.
and Gavin had just OBR models everywhere. Didn't lose a single unit, but there was only like 5 Death Riders off the table. Tom had like 2 Corpse Guards, Gorslav, and then just like a handful of dogs. Like he was almost tabled.
Well, and it's really funny too, and I think we've seen it a couple times this weekend so far on stream, when you really get some of these excellent high caliber players utilizing the most out of minimal models left, just blocking out any teleports.
I'm going to have to stop you right here because all 3 of his monsters have made their charges. So that 9-man unit of Bulgors is sandwiched between Gobsprack, Scumjack, and that Kiloboss on Corpse of Revolta.
We will likely see the Wah called here. The
Oh.
Crew Boys Wah.
Giving a couple of units, a couple strike bursts.
Hannah in the chat literally called it right off the rip as soon as
There
that
we go.
happened. So yeah, spot on. Like I can't imagine a better time to call that.
Jacob Brandon also played on stream versus Tom Guan in the Invitational. Did a similar thing.
Great
He
game.
sent all 3 monsters right off the rip.
Yep.
Top of 1. Called the Wah.
I don't know how it goes.
My
Something
voice
like
is
that.
a little shot after commentating 9 games.
I think that it's really crazy too right now to just like watch this and again, both players playing very, I mean, in my opinion, kind of. I think the Beast of Chaos list is kind of typical. Like you're seeing the same type of resources now, but again, it plays such an atypical game that I still consider it like in that weird like, let's call it the curveball lists for sure. Because if you're not prepared to play a different style game, it can just ruin you. Same thing here with Jacob Brandon's list. Not only is this list atypical because people aren't seeing it, but the way it plays and the way you have to engage and think the long-term strategy. You don't get to just say, oh, I know 12 or more discard are going to march up the field. It's like, no, man, this guy's gobsmack can be anywhere. He can double tap at the bolt boys, which makes them excellent shooters and guard, in my opinion, for any of your screens. Hell, even the gut rippers and the hobgrots with that super sneaky, being able to like pin things in and just that extra turn or turn and a half delay from like stopping an alpha strike. I mean, in the game that he played against Scooter, literally was able to just stop that massive threat of like pigs coming in just by like, here's my hobgrots in front of you. What are you gonna do, man?
Looks like the Swamp Boss himself taking the first swing here.
I'm going to make a bold prediction here. I think if he picks up the Bulgors, this
Crush
game's
it.
over.
I agree. Well, and it's funny though. I'll be honest. I haven't
I
seen.
don't know if it's a bold prediction. But
I mean, that seems like an obvious call, but I've seen Noah win without his Bulls before this weekend, so I wouldn't call him out. Noah has I'm not sure if you noticed, he's won a tournament or two with less models, so I'm sure he can do it.
True.
But he does lose a big power piece, and that's huge. But the good news is,
these actually aren't even Noah's models.
no, that's the fun part. And Noah, a few players now, we've all grown like so kind of like close. It's almost like we just borrow hammer at this point. So,
Okay.
and it's
There's
fun.
quite a bit happening. I actually brought the Lock of Eye for Tom Guan.
Oh, nice.
I painted up Monday night, slap chopped it together.
Perfect.
And then Sergio Trees out there terrorizing people with zombies. I brought him about 40 zombies in a corpse cart.
I did see your buckets.
And I found out that the legendary Bread and Teresa brought the rest of his list, essentially.
Nice.
So, I don't know. I thought Sergio owned a Soulblade army. Apparently, he just borrows it from everybody.
I think the last time I saw him play was a very different style, like very cavalry heavy. So I don't think he owned. I mean, no one I think
Yeah.
predicted to own this many zombies.
He really wanted to try out zombies. I had some chat with him a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And he was like, you know what? I haven't had a lot of success with some of these other types of Soulblight lists. So we actually talked it through. I actually really like his zombie list, but I think he might have had some bad matchups, underperforming a bit. But
And Sergio's also another guy like too. Like he doesn't get the opportunity to practice maybe as much as some people do. He is really great at pulling the resources around him, which again I think this AoS community like is just fantastic enough where it's like, man, anyone here is approachable. Everyone here is willing to help everyone because I think we're all just looking for great games and great folks. And Sergio's reached out to several people about trying to get help with his list, as I encourage everyone to. Like it's peer review can make you better. If you think you're the best, go play the best, and you might get a little humbled. You might learn something new, or maybe we learned something new.
oh, yeah. We did have a couple players take long treks out here for the first time to say, you know what? I think I'm the best. Let's see what these people know.
So, and it's really great too. I think really last year I saw a great like pilgrimage, I'll call it, from the West Coast player scene coming out here for the first time. I was so happy they did it. We have a lot more West Coasters coming out too. We've got Welsh players, we've got Finnish players, we've got English players. We got them all. And I think that's really just such a great testament that like we have this community that can reach out far and wide and say, hey guys, I want to know who the toughest kid on the block is. Bring them out. Let's go. And we all do it in good faith and good fun. I mean, everyone's here having a great time, and I think displaying some of the quality AoS that we all love of good sportsmanship, great games, and high-level play.
Even Leo, he's formerly from the UK. He moved over here about a year ago to the States.
We talked about
Up
it.
in the US.
So it's funny. Like again, he's Finnish in my mind. He played for Team Finland for Worlds this year. But I mean, let's not get it twisted. Work's got him out here. This is his backyard. So like he was more than happy to come say, this looks great on the resume from a Warhammer perspective. I'll happily show up 10 minutes away from my house.
And he's padding that resume this weekend.
Oh, he's done great. Done great with it. Let's see, what do we got?
There has been quite a bit of whipping, so it looks like these Bulgors are going to be swinging back, which means I think we got a game on our hands. And
Love it. Love.
the
Now-
last place you want to be is
You
in
know-
combat with a bunch of Great Axe Bulgors.
So this is funny, and Emma. I can't quite see it from my angle. You tell me, where the hell is this Doom Bull at? Because I'm shocked I didn't hear a Doom Bull charging in the opponent's turn or anything like that.
No idea.
I have no idea where he is.
We did have last round. Nuge was also playing with the Doom Bull.
Okay.
I had to double check that board a few
No
times.
clue.
At one point, it looked like he forgot to bring it on, and I think he did, but he was able to then bring it on.
Okay,
You know,
good,
Opponents
good.
all great sports here.
Yeah, good.
I think I saw the greatest level of sportsmanship. Jacob Brandon against Tom Guan in the Invitational. Tom Guan put his Belladama on the line, forgetting that Lookout Sir does not apply to her because she has a mount.
Oh.
Jacob Brandon said, I'll give you the opportunity to redeploy her. Like, no problem. The game hasn't even started yet, right?
Sure. Are you aware of this FAQ? The rule changed. Like you should.
Tom Guan said, no, how dare you show that level of sportsmanship? I'm going one higher. I made the mistake. I'm going to live with it. My Beldama is right there.
That's awesome.
So both players,
love it.
Everybody here is just showing the best sportsmanship.
Yeah, it's like, no, I'll buy you beer. No, I'll buy you a beer. And it's really great, too. And again, I know a lot of folks here. We got some Team America folks here, which is awesome. And we really respect the hell out of the Team Denmark. We really love using their term, playing the Danish way, man. It's like playing high level, great sportsmanship. And really, honestly, everyone likes to practice with like take-backs and best perfect information, but I'll be honest, I think really as a community we've done a great job showing that you can play high level, not ask for those take-backs, move forward, own your mistake, move on. A mistake is just an opportunity to learn, and I hope the players are okay with that, even though you've got possible pressure of like top tables here. The important thing is remembering that this is a game, this is fun, we want to be competitive, and hey, one mistake does not define you, so move past it and we can keep going. And I think a lot of players have been able to display that level of sportsmanship, trust, and really great communication here to do it as well.
I cannot locate the Doom Bowl. Both players still in game. I just don't want to interrupt
clue
them.
where he is, yeah.
I don't want to interrupt them. There's going to be times where they're going to be a little loose.
I got a
and
yellow shirt, I'll go yell at him. Like, where's your
But-
goddamn Doom Bull?
Gosprek, after these attack backs, 2 wins left.
Oh, okay. Well, this was the bottom of 2. So Noah's got to be chomping at the bit here, knowing that like he's just a priority away from just doing that ritual and finishing that damn vulture off.
Oh, yeah.
So yes, I would. That sounds delightful.
So, still a very tight game. Noah's going to definitely be able to recover from this. It's going to be a huge priority roll coming up.
At this
Jacob's
point-
definitely going to score 5, and we're going
Yeah.
to still be tied up 9-9.
Oh, 100%. Well, and the way this combat's resolved, it's not even like catching up in my opinion. It's just things are going great. Thank you so much. So this is just this is exciting. This I hate to break down this game that's come down to priority rolls, but this one is gonna be impactful, like all of them are. This one is such a unique one though, because like you've had a little bit of like variance hit both players at the right time, and both of them before it happened to them felt pretty confident moving forward. So it looks like we got someone getting picked up here.
Oh,
Is that
I'll
the-
find out what
Yeah, is
finished it off. I'm not sure because the Bulgor swung and it had 2 wounds left. But now he's gone.
Find the Doom Bull. That bastard's somewhere around there. I don't know where he is, but he's got to be there. Let's see. Yeah, no clue. I can't tell where the damn thing is from this camera. Anyone in the chat figure it out yet? I haven't figured it out. This is crazy. But losing a vulture that early is going to definitely hurt Ramon or hurt Jacob Brand a little bit. So
The Doodle is on the table.
I knew it. Had to be there.
He is right next to all the Bulgors,
So he did make a charge in.
and Jacob was able to put one of those Bulgors in the net, which means with coherency, another Bulgor goes.
Oh.
So there's 2 Bulgor left.
Oh wow.
The Doom Bull did take a few wounds.
How many command points does Noah have? Can he save them with the presence, or are we looking at possibly them running?
I don't know how much he has right now,
Oh man.
but he does have some battle shots like Alpha. I'm pretty sure he still had one in the bank, expecting there to be
Okay.
this happening.
Okay.
Oh, looks like Battle Shock rolled a 6 on his
Must
gut
have, yeah.
rippers. So a bunch of gut rippers fleeing on the left-hand side. What looked like Cruel Boys going for a W with a bunch of big charges, a bunch of big plays.
He was trying to put the nail in the coffin early again, and which is ironically a very good play. Like if you're playing against a tempo list,
He's down. He's only going to score 4 points because with Godsprak dying, he doesn't
Yeah,
control that
doesn't-
top left right objective
so we
anymore.
know he's going to blow up too. Like
Yeah,
he's
absolutely.
going to have that opportunity. Which again, this mission's so fun because like this is my favorite underdog mission they've ever written.
He's probably just going to remove both objectives on the left-hand side. Cruel Boys army
Oh.
is pretty turtled up on
Agreed.
that bottom
Right.
objective.
Come to me, take the Dark Walk with sub-allegiance away from him for late game
Do
options.
that, or you'll remove the one all the way in the top right as well. Because
Ooh,
a
I like
big,
that.
huge portion of Noah's army is bundled up on objective.
Yeah.
Actually do some mortal wounds as it blows up.
Sure.
And also make the board smaller.
I agree. Like it honestly, like, and as you were saying that, like, I couldn't agree more. Like, I really think that maybe I don't see the numbers on them, but the topmost right and the bottommost left, in my opinion,
Absolutely.
if you knock those two out, you're only dealing with that. Originally was the 4 in the middle, but we know 2's already
Or
gone.
potentially even a 3. I like either one of those left objectives being removed
Okay.
would be huge because there's
still 4 Bolt Boys and the Beast Skewer Killbow on that bottom middle objective, which is a lot of firepower you can project out to either of those. Actually, he's got access to 3 different objectives to shoot out.
Right. One thing also too is like taking those 2 corner ones off means that the Dark Walker ability has less value later in the game, right? So get those Beast of Chaos playing centerboard. They don't like doing it. You'll get to force them there because, again, we know Beast of Chaos typically have pretty weaker saves, so they're not really there to stand in, like, a phone booth and beat you to death with them. They're really trying to play guerrilla warfare here and sneak around the corners, hit you big once and twice. This is crazy. It does look like Noah won the prio. We got Emma over there confirming. It looks like we've got another one in the chat kind of looking like you called it too. I think that's what we're looking at here. We're just going to confirm it, make sure. Which would be a great choice. I mean, that really brings the fight to him, which I think is where he's going to be. Again, you can't...
Additionally, because Noah's taking his turn, that means Dark Master falls off those Bolt Boys, that 5-man Bolt Boy unit.
It does.
That's on that number 2 over there.
It does.
That number 2 objective is gone.
Yes.
They are removing some objectives. I'm going to see if they're going to remove that other one too.
For sure. What I really like here for Noah is, like, he is a bit of, like... The board is shrinking, but again, those models are bleeding out. We know Gobsprak is down to 2 remaining. That's a quick ritual away from going. Those Bolt Boys, yes, are unbellicord, but we've got some options on how to deal with those guys now. I really think that this is going to be a big momentum shift here. This could be the 6 Bolt Boys and Gobsprak getting lifted, plus a 5-point turn for Noah, which anytime you just keep whittling down those power pieces with and very little movement, in my opinion, to do this. And the Shaman is on the board and the Doom Bull's on the board. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
They're both in that top right. So there's a Doom Bull
Gotcha.
in that top right on that top objective, along with what remains of 2 Bulgor.
Okay.
And the Shaman is in combat with a Gut Ripper right now.
Sure.
But it looks like he's within 12 of the Swamp Boss.
Which it means it's
See if he
time.
wants
Well, and my favorite part about this too is not only does it feel really good about having both your heroes in those ranges to do it, means you can drag somebody, you can do your mortal wounds, but you also have a really great combo play with.
Did we lose our visual here?
Oh no, I hope not. It may have just been a little. I see this timer kicking back in again, but it still says we're live.
Is anybody able to confirm in chat if we are live? Oh, still good? All right. Looks like it's just on our end. Sorry.
Okay. We got a little bit of buffering, which is fun. So neat.
Yeah, a little bit of technical delay. It started a bit. Yeah, on our screen, it's just a little black screen spinning.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, we'll keep moving forward. And chat, let us know if you lose any visual here. What I was saying is, like, the one really fun thing, not only is Blizzard really meta-defining in my opinion, but it plays so well in a Beast of Chaos strategy because you love to do that ritual, pull you in a little closer, a little like Scorpion, get over here, and you just sucker punch them. But not only can they do that, but also with that second ritual for that D6 mortal wounds, I mean, like, being able to just pick up heroes and or monsters at will, especially that Gobsprak's bleeding out with 2 wounds left on it, this feels so good. So you can hit that guy, drag another one, get a Blizzard left to go. I mean, like, these power pieces are just so vulnerable right now with Beast of Chaos' ability to not only be so maneuverable, but then to also pull you out of position. Ooh,
Swamp Boss Scumdrag.
what about him? What's going on? He gone? Goodbye. Bye, Felicia. Man, we must have missed that one, too. I didn't see that Scumdrag getting picked up, too. That's brutal if that's the case. Emma will be back here just to confirm that. Is he gone? Oh.
Swamp Boss was so low that he died to the ritual.
Oh, wow. Brutal.
Which means the Doom Bull and the Bulgors are out of combat.
Oh,
so
that's
I'm curious,
amazing.
Because the ritual is a heroic action,
Yes?
it's still your starting hero phase. You could rally Bulgor.
Yes, you could. And it's really fun, too, because also since it is in the start as well, like, you get to play all those games, get that perfect information, and really call that tactic. So this is awesome. I'm really bummed. I have to go walk around and get some information from the field, but I don't want to. Like, this is really good.
This is amazing. From what I heard from Sean Clark, Team America captain who's meandering around, all of the games are super tight. I only saw one game from one of our, middle tables reported, and every other game was still going. I heard the Caleb Anthony Lawrence game started off pretty slow. They were still only in turn 1 not too long ago.
Yep.
That's going to be a very tight game. I think all of our ones are going to be super tight.
I think so too. They also played in the Invitational, so you'd be foolish to think that Caleb did not go back in the think tank, try to replay that in his head and figure some things out. So I'm very curious to see how that rematch pseudo goes. So awesome. Well, hey, I definitely will be back to check in with you guys later. I'm going to go get some field information and go do my job for a minute.
Thank you for joining us. Mike Baginos, TO extraordinaire.
Those of us joining, we've got Noah, the legend, LVO champ, Beast of Chaos, currently 5-0, playing against Jacob Brandon.
Our secret sauce, 5-0 with Cruel Boys.
This is round 6. Essentially had that top 8 cut. Both players
Here to win it all.
what we've seen so far is after 2 full rounds, Noah's ahead by 1 point, just 1 point, 9 to 4. Noah is taking top of 3. Jacob burnt the 2 objectives on the left-hand side. At the start of round 2, they were tied up 4-4. Noah won the roll-off and burnt the objective that on the right-hand side with the number 2 on it. So there currently is only 3 objectives on the table. There's a bold board and 2 Dune Bowls on that top objective up there. I'm expecting that they go into
The bird. And clear him off that objective at the top that says number 4 on it. Bellicor positioning him down. There's a couple Bolt Boys and a Beastcore Killbow on the objective in the bottom middle. Bellicor moving in. Gonna see if he can charge in there. Potentially tie them up. Kill a couple. He can remove those Bolt Boys. He's gonna be in an amazing position. There still remains 5 Bolt Boys in the middle of the table where that number 2 objective was. Again, it's technically deleted, but there are 5 Bolt Boys and a Swamp Collar Shaman on it. So players, knowing that every movement matters, they are electing not to just take it off the table right now. Ooh, looks like Noah's electing not even to mess with the boss on the Corpse of Revolta. He's moving to get a charge in on those Bolt Boys. Very curious. Yep, the Beast of Chaos Grand Strat is to have Brayherd units on 2 or more objectives at the end of the battle.
It's very hard in this mission because there is the chance that even by the end of the battle, there are no objectives on the table. So the Grand Strat could be gone for Noah.
We're still only an hour and a half into the round. Round only halfway over. Matches our game. We're still in the start of round 3.
Movement phase, Beast of Chaos. Looks like Noah is blowing his trumpet. Bringing on some Gores.
So what to do? That's the question. Okay. She will attempt to do the 501. She gets it. All your pluses. Did you mean use those for your spells too? I see. So you can't pull my card. You can't add it. And you have
So this is our last game of today. There are 2 more rounds tomorrow. This is game 6 of our GT. So 2 more rounds tomorrow. This is the 3rd game of today for everybody. 6th game of our GT. Noah's Grand Strat to have Brayherd units on 2 or more objectives. Very risky in this one as there might not be those objectives left at the end of the battle. Cruel Boys Grand Strat is crump 'em all. The Cripple Maul Grand Strat is has to be fewer than 3 enemy units on the battlefield. So if Noah ends a game with 3 or more, he will deny Jacob's Grand Strat. Jacob very much in position right now to deny Noah's Grand Strat if he removes 2 more objectives. Just a reminder that objective that says number 2 on it on the right hand side does not actually exist right now. Noah's shooting a bunch of Ungor Raiders into the Bolt Boys, removing a couple of them. Looks like he's going to try charging the Bulgor into it. Hopefully he remembers that that's not actually an objective, but I think what he's doing is just trying to remove all of the damage pieces from Jacob. Noah did fail his charges with the Bulgor the turn that came on, but now able to make those charges. So we'll see what Be'lakor decides to do. If Be'lakor goes charging in, there are about 4 Bolt Boys on that bottom center objective. Very interesting play here. Noah is not going for that top center objective. He's currently owned by Crew Boys, so just 1 monster on it. Noah does own the top right objective. Jacob currently owns 2 of the 3 objectives on the table. Both of those center middle objectives. But with so much already being killed off, shot away by Bolt Boys, looks like Noah is prioritizing them. We're only on round 3. So it looks like Noah might be thinking, I can remove all of the Bolt Boys early on. Doesn't matter if he goes down in points. He's already hit by 1, and you actually benefit if you're down in points a little bit by being able to dictate what objectives get removed. He might be thinking he might want to go down in points early, so that way he can then dictate what gets burned. Charged the Bulgor and did lose 1 on an Unleash Hell, though. So Jacob rolling 6s on his Unleash Hell, killing off a Bulgor. Noah assessing the table. Did not expect to lose a Bulgor on that charge. Failed with the Doom Bolt. Realizing he really needs to get in there. So he's charged Be'lakor on that objective. Gonna tango with those Bolt Boys. Those of you joining us, round 6, Nova Open GT. 2 more rounds tomorrow. This is the last round of today. We've essentially had our top 8 players decided. Coming to you live, Noah with his Beast of Chaos, Jacob Bannon, Cruel Boys, both 5-0. Was that in your bingo cards? A 5-0 Cruel Boys. This is top of 3. The score currently 5-4. Noah ahead by 1 point. Still very close, but a lot has died. There's only one Bulgor left of that starting 9. But most of the Bolt Boys have already been killed. Gobsprack's been killed. Swamp Boss Scumdreck's been killed.
And Noah electing, instead of going for that middle objective in the top, he's elected to just send it and go for all of the Bolt Boys.
Bolt Boys can really swing a game wildly, and is absolutely looking to just remove all of them from the table right now. He wants to just put it on the back of one Beast Skewer Killbow and one Corpse River Vulture. And it looks like there's about 10 Hopcrot Slittas with a hope and a dream. But no one doesn't have much. He just got one Bellacore, one Bulgor, a Doombull, a bunch of Ungors. So we'll see. It's been a bloodbath. You see that pile of bodies on the left-hand side of your table. It's been an absolute bloodbath. And we're only on top of 3. Things started off pretty kind of timid. Turn 1 wasn't a whole lot of action, but turn 2, both players said, let's go, send it, let it rip. Again, with some updates around, we still don't have any scores for our top tables in our other games. Dump Truck, the man himself, Leo Rautanen, 5-0 with Nagash in Legion of Night, playing against Anthony Trentinelli, playing Fleshier Court's Hollowmorn with a whole bunch of Cryptars. We also have Caleb Walters playing Zinch against Anthony Lawrence Slanesh. Caleb did go 5-0, Anthony Lawrence and Anthony Trentinelli's. The Anthony Specials have gone 4-1, but we're the only 4-1 players to make it into that top 8. And then the final game happening is a OBR mirror match between Dean Bills and Gavin Gregor, both of which finished 5-0. Dean running Petrifex Elite, Gavin running Null Myriad, Gavin with a Archon the Black, Dean running 2 units of Morghast in his list, so some big variations, both with Catacrows, both with a big block of Immortus Guard. We'll see which one comes out on top. Dean slightly favored in the combat phase, but that Archon the Black definitely could make the difference with the spellcasting dominance that he brings to the table.
Oh no, we have seen Bellacore lifted there. Absolute disaster. Noah went in, hoping to remove all of the Bolt Boys. Unfortunately, took one too many wounds. Has been removed. Noah putting down 3 points right now. Going into Cruel Boys, bottom of 3. Score is currently 12-8.
This is the second, right? So that'll be it. I'll be shooting in the day. Fours and threes.
Sit back down here. All right. Welcome back to me. Haha! I'm back, chat. What do we got going on here? We've got Let me catch myself up, see what I can see. I might have to step out for just a quick second, so I'm here to try and make sure we don't got some radio silence. Looking at this, we've got... Oh, man, what did I miss walking around? There's way less stuff going on here. Okay, so the big vulture's still hanging out. It looks like I think the last Bulgor may have died. I'm looking at this. What a clapback from Jacob Brandon here. Holy cow. So what do we got going on? Yeah, for some reason I can't see this delay, which is a little frustrating, but oh well. Let's see. Looks like I don't know what was the left-hand side of the scoreboard here. Frustrating. Sorry, Chad. I'm trying to get my bearings here. Let me go ahead and see what side of the score is for who here. So my assumption was correct that I've got Noah only scoring a 3-point turn there, which is just an opportunity here for Jacob to kind of keep this going. This angle hurts my brain. Yeah, just straight top down. It's definitely can be disorienting if you're not used to it. It does allow for like the most objective universal look at it, but I can definitely relate. My brain is used to being at the table and looking at kind of like that little bird's eye, maybe like 45-degree angle view, so it does take a little getting used to. You know, I really can't tell if there's any additional objectives blown up. I know 2 was gone earlier. I was here for that one. Man, I'm looking at Noah's board here, running out of resources. There's still plenty of battle taxes to be scored. You can still kind of almost score at least one primary at will. I guess my real challenge here looking at this is to understand if Jacob Brandon can just dominate the hold 1, hold 2, hold more, and just win out that way. Because I know he's got some great tactics available to him as well. Oh, think it's just crooked. Okay, so from my view here, I've got a perfect top down on input 1, so I'm curious to see how it looks on looks on YouTube versus what it looks here on camera, because we got it pretty flat here on the camera. I'm curious about that. We got Hunter back here, so I'm going to pan it back over.
And I'll take my phone back from Mike, who's about to walk off with it. And the Curl Boys, bottom of 3. Anyone joining us live? Round 6 coverage, Nova Open GT. Gravetide coming out. There is a unit of Ungor Raiders that is staring at. And that is the Doom Bull up there, showing the edge of that objective at the top.
Hey, how about the opposite? Ready?
So, Suffocating Gravetide, doing a hole. 1 mortal wound. Current score 12-8, favor the Beast of Chaos, but we are on bottom of 3, so Jacob Man and Crow Boy is going. That number 2 objective you see on the center right is gone. That was the first objective to be removed, but there were quite a few models on it at the time, so both players just left the mat where it is. There are only 3 objectives on the table, those top 2, and then the one in the center bottom. Jacob advancing his Hobgot Slittas up the table. He still has the Beast Skewer Killbow and some Bolt Boys on that bottom objective. Looks like he's measuring range. There are a unit of Ungor Raiders all the way on the left. It's also a Kiloboss on Corpse of Revolcha, all the way in the top middle objective. We'll likely see that make a play to maybe pick up the Doom Bull if he can't shoot it off. This game has been absolutely wild. At one point, looked like Noah was about to pick up Gobsprack. Failed his charge after coming in 7 inches away, having +1 for the instrument banner, +1 for coming in that turn. Only needed a 5 on the dice. On a re-rollable charge, couldn't roll higher than a 4. And then Jacob responded by sending all 3 of his monsters, Gobsprack, the Corpse of Revolcha, and Scumdrek, sending all of them in, calling the Wah, but only killing a handful of the Bulgor, whiffing on his dice. Noah responded by killing Gobsprack in the combat phase, And then finishing off Swamp Boss Scumdrack with a ritual. And now we're into Cruel Boy's bottom of 3. And I suspect Jacob might be going for the 5-point turn as he controls all 3 of the active objectives, guaranteeing himself a minimum of 3 points, plus his battle tactic. His battle tactic this turn is to do 10 or more wounds without taking 10 or more wounds, which for Cruel Boys, usually a very simple battle tactic. There's so much shooting available here, but we did see Jacob fail it in one of his prior games. So, has to be very calculative of where he puts his charges, but I don't see him taking 10 or more wounds here. Noah trying to redeploy that Doom Bull did not have enough to make it on the objective, but let's see, he might have enough to potentially keep it alive. Trying to keep it out of charge range of that Vulture, but it's still in range of 1 or 2 Bolt Boys there. They could put some shots into those scores that came in on the right-hand side. He has some shots potentially lined up on the Raiders all the way on the left-hand side. And now here we have a big charge coming in. There was a Bray Shaman all the way up on the top right. Doesn't look like he has enough reach, but he might be looking to just stomp, finish it off. 4-inch charge coming in. That is a Swamp Kala Shaman that just charged in. He's got his little pot grot. And he's indeed stomped, finished off that Bray Shaman up at the top of the screen. He's going to be looking to remove all of these Raiders. At which point Noah's just going to have a Doom Bull and 2 units of Gores left on his table. Still super close, absolute bloodbath. Almost nothing left after 3 turns.
Anything, Emma? Anything?
There's still just over an hour left in this round. Plenty of time left. No finished games in our top 8 players. We did have Scooter Walters just missing out on top 8. Finished 9th after 5 rounds. Did play Captain Canada himself, Oliver Dempsey, first round in round 6 after the pod breakdown, and Scooter picked up a big W there, 18-2 in a differential. Pigs over Daughters of Cain. Marcella also picking up a win against Jeremy Hawk. Marcella playing Gloomspite Gitz. She went 4-1 in the GT. Picking up another win here, extending her lead to 5-1 with the Gloomspite Gitz. Evan Markham's Blades of Corn. We had him on stream yesterday against Owen Jackson. He picked up a W over Dale Irvin, who was on stream earlier today with his Seraphon. And we'll keep you updated on those top 4 games going on. We have Leo Routinen with his Nagash. Had an update from that game earlier. The Vampire Lord blew himself up with a Blizzard, and then Nagash immediately miscast. Was not a good turn for Leo. But that game, super close over there. There was a ton of bodies on that table as I walked by it earlier. So even with some miscast, still not out of it. Caleb Walters' table, saw Kronspine, 2 chickens still alive, but I saw quite a lot of Slanesh still sitting there on that table. That one way too close. The Dean Bills Gavin game, there was only a 1-point difference in score. It looks like they were just about to start round 3. And it looks like Gavin might have been ahead by 1 point. Not sure, did not have the players' names on the score sheet. But that game, still super close. Ton of OBR on that table. And when there's so much OBR, who knows which one's which. But all 4 of our top games, way too close to call. Update from the table. After that turn, Noah has conceded. After 3 rounds, only 2 units of Ungor left on the table for Noah. Still some Bolt Boys, a Beast Skewer Killbow, Kill a Boss on Big Ol' Bird, some Hobgot Slittas, and 2 Shamans left. Noah conceding the game, knowing the writing's on the wall. Beast of Chaos dropping 5-1. But it's not over. Still 2 more games for him tomorrow. It is not single elimination. All players going to be playing it out all 8 rounds. But Noah will not be going 8-0 this weekend. But, ladies and gentlemen, we might have a world first. 6-0 Cruel Boys. 6-0 Cruel Boys. You heard it here first. Other games, there's still a full hour left. We're probably going to cut the streams off in a minute, but we'll have all those updates in the morning for you guys. I do think we start at either 9. I'm going to check the time for everybody before we log off here. Our start time tomorrow will be, drumroll, 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. We'll be picking up with round 7 of the GT. The other 3 top games right now are still way too close to call. There's still a full hour going on. And, you know, they could go the full hour. But the game in front of you is over. Cruel Boys win 6-0. This was our 10th game streamed from the Nova Open so far. If you missed any other ones, please be sure to check them out. Amazing games. We had an invitation on Thursday. Streamed 3 games on Friday, 3 games today, 2 left tomorrow, 9 a.m. Don't miss it, the semifinal. And then Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, we will bring you round 8. The final, the cream of the crop. We might even see Jacob there with the Cruel Boys. Could you imagine? But we're signing off. More Warhammer, more often. Love you all. But good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Goodbye.